So now let's discuss the advantages and disadvantages of both empires. So first, let's start with Turkey. So it's pretty obvious what Turkey kind of has. They have lots of control in Saudi Arabia and a bunch of allies, and also they have one of the most industrialized places of all time, and maybe even the most industrialized place of all time, with many puppets also helping them out to make them appear larger. Their allies are Saudi Arabia, Yemen, the UAE, Qatar, um, and stuff. And they also decide to side with Chad because Chad is so Chad that they decide to side with Turkey. But they do have some enemies that might attack them. This being Russia, Germany, Poland, the Baltic countries, Norway, Sweden, um, Finland, and also the what could be the Stanistan Empire one day, maybe for a video. Who knows? As for Greece, they don't have as much industrialized land, but they have like all this like stuff in Africa here. They're especially in their Egyptian part, like right here where the Nile is. That means that not only do they have access to water, but they also have access to civilians, which may or may not be conscripted. Also, by the way, the conflicts in Africa finally end with the borders eventually being settled, and every country that's not like completely like broken up. I mean, every country that's not like fully taken over, just expect them to break up. Um, and Morocco gets to barely exist, just usual. So now Turkey and Greece have an additional fascination. They want to expand through Asia and take over some very industrialized places, specifically this one. So so yeah, both of the empires are kind of setting their sight over here, but they know that's kind of a fantasy. But they decide, screw it, let's try. So first, let's start with Turkey. So with support from the other Middle Eastern countries, um, they are eventually able to fully puppet the rest of Iran. Um, and now Turkey can no longer have to say I walked. Very funny, I know. Anyways, they eventually push into Pakistan, and with help from the people, are able to create a massive spearhead taking over the capital. And with this, they also start to push into Pakistan, and a mass encircling movement is pulled in, capturing a mind-boggling amount of troops. With this, Pakistan and Afghanistan eventually surrender, and China is starting to eye them up. The borders are right now in dispute, though. Now let's start with Greece. So their plan um is to go around both the Sudans through Ethiopia and take and with Somaliland rebels take this over, so they'll have access to the Indian Ocean right here, and then they'll be able to make a landing in Sri Lanka, pushing up into India, then taking out Nepal and Bhutan, and maybe some other countries over here, and then hopefully China. So the reason they're doing this is because both sides are kind of exhausted and they need as much industrialization and people as they can. So so now we have Greece's plans being into activation. So with this they decided not to take out all of Sudan as psychopaths. And they just decide to just make a trail right here. And this also leads to them having a good encirclement of Turkey's African countries. They also take over the rest of Eritrea, and with Somaliland rebels are able to split it in two. And they say, I'm here to liberate you from your cruel Somalian oppressors and replace them with mine. So you got some Napoleon strategies going on here. Um, is eventually just completely annexed with some more territorial gains in poor Ethiopia. Um, then Ethiopia just decides, screw it, I need to redeem myself. So they just decide to annex literally everything. They also make an alliance with Adolf Hitler, president of Namibia, and in the Chaddest country of all time, Chad. With this, they take land, and I know this seems unrelated because it is, but I don't care. Chad decides to keep its borders, but they decide to, just control these lands, and they need that border because it looks like the funny meme. Namibia decides to completely annex Angola, and they also decide to annex all of South Africa. Don't question it. So now we have some even more bigger empires. Um, God, this is getting insane. So now Greece has access to the Indian Ocean a lot better. Wow. Um, so the first thing they do is take over Sri Lanka, which puts in a little bit of a pact with India, Nepal, Bhutan, and Myanmar, um, Thailand, and Vietnam. They all decide to declare war on Greece, and now it's going to be kind of hard. So now Greece has the most soldiers out of every other country, just a bit above China. China has about 2 point something million, while India has about 3.4 million. There's a spearhead through here and an encircling movement of New Delhi. And with this, India is able to surrender. Over in Turkey, we have wow. Um, Over in Turkey, we have all of Afghanistan and Pakistan being united and all under Turkish control after some negotiation. Definitely not just straight up murder of their families, but whatever. So now America's like, oh hey, thanks Turkey, here take stuff. Thanks for beating Afghanistan. Now memes go galore about Afghanistan no longer being the graveyard of empires. Um, so now Turkey decides to start to push into India because they're starting to like this idea. So they do just that. They start pushing over into disputed territory of China and India, and this part's technically India, so they can kind of get it without annoying China. And they also swoop through Nepal, and they can't get to Bhutan yet because it's very mountainous. With this, Greece is pretty dang mad, so they decide to instantly try to secure their supply of land. Supply of land? What? So yeah, they just start taking over as much land before Turkey can get to it. With this, they're able to successfully wipe out Bhutan and start pushing into Myanmar and Bangladesh. With this, they decide, screw it, we're just gonna take all of this. It's very hard to fight through, but they eventually do it. And Vietnam kind of just surrenders because they don't really want to fight. They don't want even more PTSD, and they don't want to be memed anymore. So now we finally have a massive Greek empire that spans into Asia. Um, so with these really big victories, don't take that out of context. I didn't mean to say that. Wow. So with this, they both decide to start their invasion into China. Um, so let's start this. Taiwan also decides to start sending aid, and so do South Korea, Japan, and America. Um, and they're kind of playing both sides, so they always come out on top. With Tibetan rebels, Turkey is able to get a pretty big force of control over in China, and they also decide to split this part right here up, so they can look like they actually have a bit more than what they really do. And they also decide to create a bit of a, and they also decide to puppet this part instead of just completely annexing it, so they can look like they have some more freedom when they really don't. And they make a few more puppets from this, which will eventually be established. So they continue their encirclement of Tibet, and it's pretty much captured at this point with Uruguay. I don't know how to say it. It's horrible, but I feel bad because like they're going through horrible stuff right now. So with this, they're eventually able to take over northern China, and they push down through here, making a triangle spearhead, and now it looks like a dog. Aw.